ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामे। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 4, verse 25. Samvardhayanti yat kamaha swarajya paribhavitaha durlabhanapi siddhanam mukundam hrudi pashyataha. Very nice verse. Those who are saturated with the transcendental happiness of rendering service to the Supreme Person of Godhead are uninterested even in the achievements of great mystics. For such achievements do not enhance the transcendental bliss felt by a devotee who always thinks of Krishna within the core of his heart. So beautiful. Those who think about Krishna within the core of their hearts, they become saturated with transcendental happiness. Paribhavitaha. And they are uninterested in all this siddhanam, durlabha, paribhavitaha, durlabha. Okay. And saturation. So they are uninterested even in the achievements of great mystics, because such achievements do not enhance their transcendental bliss. So because they are saturated with transcendental happiness, meaning full of transcendental happiness, they don't seek happiness elsewhere at all. So it's such a beautiful state to be in. A pure devotee is uninterested not only in elevation to higher planetary systems, but even in the perfections of mystic yoga. Real perfection is devotional service. The happiness derived from merging in the impersonal Brahman and the happiness derived from the 8 perfections of mystic yoga, Anima, Laghima, Prapti, etc., do not give any pleasure to the devotee. As stated by Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati, Kaivalyam narakayate tridashapur akasha pushpayate Durdantendriya kala sarpa patali protkata damstrayate Vishwam purna sukhayate vidhi mahendradischakitayate Yat karunya kataksha vaibhavatam tam gauram evastumaha. Chaitanya Chandramrita. When a devotee has achieved the position of rendering transcendental loving service to the Lord through the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, he thinks the impersonal Brahman to be no better than hell, and regards material happiness in the heavenly planets to be like a will-o'-the-wisp. As far as the perfection of mystic powers is concerned, a devotee compares it to a venomous snake with no teeth. A mystic yogi is especially concerned with controlling the senses. But because the senses of a devotee are engaged in the service of the Lord, there is no need for separate control of the senses. For those who are materially engaged, control of senses is required. But a devotee's senses are all engaged in the service of the Lord, which means that they are already controlled. Param drishtva nivartate. Devotee senses are not attracted by material enjoyment. And even though the material world is full of misery, the devotee considers this material world to be also spiritual because everything is engaged in the service of the Lord. The difference between the spiritual world and the material world is the mentality of service. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yuktam Vairagyam Uchyate. When there is no mentality of service to the Supreme Person of Godhead, one activities are material. Prapanchikataya buddhya hari sambandhi vastunaha mumukshubhi parityago vairagyam palgu katyate. That which is engaged in the service of the Lord is not material, and nothing thus engaged should be given up. In the construction of a high skyscraper and the construction of a temple, there may be the same enthusiasm, but the endeavors are different. For one is material and the other spiritual. Spiritual activity should not be confused with material activities and given up. Nothing connected with Hari is material. A devotee who considers all this is always situated in spiritual activities, and therefore he is no longer attracted by material activities. Very, very beautiful purport. So, he starts off with saying a pure devotee is uninterested in all these things because he's saturated with transcendental happiness. Now, obviously, the question is, how does one reach this stage? I'm not qualified to speak because I've not reached that stage. But I seem to be seeing other devotees who are moving in that direction. So, at least I can speak about myself. I am desiring to be a pure devotee, but I'm far from being a pure devotee. Now, obviously, the beginning is the desire to become pure. But reaching this stage is not in the hands of the devotee. Reaching this stage is the mercy of the Supreme Lord. We can put our sincere efforts, but no guarantee that our sincere efforts is actually going to give us the result. In the sense that only when Krishna is pleased by our sincerity will he bestow this mercy of reaching the stage of pure devotion. Now we might see other devotees who are with us who might be, they might be seem to be more advanced than us. Now that's not simply a result of this life's devotion, possibly. Because it's much easier to, the lower stages of devotion seem to be much easier, which is up to the stage of mukti, seem much easier compared to the progress, or actually we cannot say that everything seems difficult, but at least initially there might be some connection with our efforts. Meaning we might put some efforts, we might be sincere, and we might see some progress. Right, but once we reach the higher stages, it's completely the mercy of Krishna, and sometimes Krishna might not even give us the result immediately. And the devotee needs to hanker for it, hanker for that position, where he can be saturated with transcendental happiness. Now, things like this, statements here being made saying that a devotee um, senses of a devotee are engaged in the service of the Lord. Because the senses of a devotee are engaged in the service of the Lord, there is no need for separate control of the senses. Now, this is not just if we are from a time perspective, meaning number of hours in a day, if we are engaged in the service of the Lord, it doesn't matter. In the sense, it's not connected just with the number of hours that we are putting in here. Because our senses are so strong that maybe out of 24 hours, you engaged your senses for 23 hours, 59 minutes in the service of Krishna. But that 1 minute is enough to engage materially. Because that's our fallen state. So only when a devotee by this devotional service becomes saturated in that happiness, meaning his heart is filled with Krishna, then even that 1 minute will go unwasted. Yeah, it will be used in the service of Krishna. And this is not something easy to achieve. Very, very fortunate souls who can actually experience this. You we might want to be pure, but it's different from actually becoming pure. And it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of effort. We cannot simply assume saying that, okay, overnight we are going to reach this stage. Mm. And I feel happy and humbled when I see other devotees around me who are clearly more advanced than me. Clearly. And like philosophically, I can prove that they're more advanced than me. Um, and they're experiencing higher stages of devotion, which I don't even have access to right now. And I sometimes feel awkward when they say things to me which I don't even know, as in, I don't know what to say. So it's really fortunate situation to get there. So we can only desire for it, we can hanker for it. But it completely depends on the mercy of Krishna. And it can be tough because we have previous life vasanas, previous life desires, strong conditioning. The only thing we can hope to do is somehow be in the association of such devotees and hope to get their dust off their lotus feet. Um, hmm. Of course, the other path that Shastra recommends is Yasya Prasadat Bhagavat Prasado. So, two ways to get mercy apart from association of such amazing devotees. One is to serve Guru, serve the instructions, mission of Guru. One, and that automatically also pleases Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, it's the it's the mercy of Guru and the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that can take us there, even though we are not qualified. We might not be qualified. And we should desire. I mean, really it's a tall order. It's a very, very high state, saturated with transcendental happiness. So much so that devotee has no time, bandwidth, interest for material things. So here Prabhupada is saying for those who are materially engaged, control of senses is required. But a devotee's senses are all engaged in the service of the Lord, which means that we have to become this kind of a devotee. Devotee senses are always engaged in the service of the Lord, means he is a pure devotee. Um, mm. So otherwise, if if we are not at that state, then we have to try and control our senses. And for controlling our senses, we have rules and regulations, but sometimes these rules and regulations can't prevent us because our conditioning can be very strong. So we have to beg for mercy. No other way. I was hearing one class when my Guru Maharaj was saying that if you want to overcome your anarthas by your own effort, it's going to take lifetimes. It's not easy. But becomes possible only by mercy. So mercy of Guru, mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, mercy of Krishna. Mm. So we have to somehow just hope for this mercy. Mm. There's no other way to realize this state, this exalted state, where a devotee is always thinking of Krishna in the core of his heart. Mm. It's it gives us happiness to read this verse, but at the same time, realizing our fallen condition, it brings distress also. Mm. And some kind of uh, desire, saying that when can we reach this stage? Mm. And this hankering is required. Krishna, when can, when can this stage be experienced? Mm. Mm. And practically, we should try to engage everything in Krishna's service. As much as possible, we should try to use everything in Krishna's service. As much as possible, like I'm saying again, we might be held back by conditioning. So, Guru, mercy of Guru, mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, mercy of Krishna, association of amazing devotees, serious sadhana, chanting, reading, surrendering ourselves to the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. These are various things that we can do to hope to reach this stage. 26. Saitham bhakti yogena tapo yuktena parthivaha swadharmena harim prinam sarvan kaman shanirjaho. The king of this planet, Maharaja Ambarīṣa, thus performed devotional service to the Lord, and in this endeavor practiced severe austerity, always satisfying the Supreme Person of Godhead by his constitutional activities. He gradually gave up all material desires. Of course, he was already a pure devotee. So he didn't have any material desires, but for fallen souls like me, yeah, performing devotional service on an ongoing basis, gradually we will give up all material desires. Unfortunately, we are in that gradual state. Purport. Severe austerities in the practice of devotional service are of many varieties. For example, in worshipping the deity in the temple, there are certainly laborious activities. Shri Vigraharadhana Nityanana Shringarathan Mandiramarjanado. One must decorate the deity, cleanse the temple, bring water from the Ganges and Yamuna, continue the routine work, perform arati many times, prepare first-class food for the deity, prepare dresses, and so on. In this way, one must constantly be engaged in various activities. And the hard labor involved is certainly an austerity. Okay, so Prabhupada is saying just engaging in the service of the Lord itself requires austerity. Bodily austerity, for example, getting up uh, in the morning for a 4:30 Mangalarti is an austerity. Eating only prasadam is an austerity. But this is austerity for those who are in very neophyte stage in devotion. For those who are advanced, for them, sleeping is an austerity. They don't like to sleep because it's waste of time. They don't like to eat because it's also in a way waste of time. Though it's mercy of Krishna only as prasadam, but still they feel I can chant more, I can serve more. Um, but for any devotees in the initial stages, these things are also an austerity. Getting up early, honoring only prasadam, dealing with other devotees respectfully, big austerity. Not telling lies, big austerity. Not engaging in sense gratification, big austerity. For some people, wearing Vaishnava clothes, big austerity. So, could be like even normal things in devotion can become big austerity for devotees, but actually, in comparison with other processes for self-realization, austerities in Bhakti Yoga are really nothing. They are very, very ordinary, as in, they're not really severe at all. Similarly, the hard labor involved in preaching, preparing literature, preaching to atheistic men, and distributing literature door to door is, of course, an austerity. Yeah, our devotees did for some time, I think, door to door. But we should resume this. Mm, our goal should be to cover every house, every house. At least one book, at least one Prabhupada's book, 20 rupees, 15 rupees book, 10 rupees book. Do something, get a book into every house. Actually, Prabhupada wanted a full set. At least we can start with one book and then slowly progress. It is hard labor. It is hard labor. Physical activity. But if devotees make their mind, if devotees are enthusiastic to do this, first thing is devotees will experience so much bliss. Even in hearing a no from a person who doesn't want to take Prabhupada's books, the devotee will experience bliss because Krishna is pleased, Prabhupada is pleased, Guru is pleased by that sincere endeavor. And just imagine if 10, 20 devotees can go together in a street doing Sankirtan and people going this side, that side into houses, trying to give books. It's such a Vaikuntha atmosphere. Um, Unfortunately, it's very difficult to get devotees to do this. If we say some other activities, devotees are enthusiastic. Like we saw during Ratha Yatra, we wanted to do book distribution, but devotees did not. They did not do. They liked distributing prasadam, they liked pulling the Ratha, they liked to do chit-chatting, maybe many. Some of them maybe singing kirtan, but they didn't like to do book distribution because book distribution is the biggest austerity. Mm. But it is the easiest way to please Prabhupada. Mm. So anyway, this is on my list of things. Door to door. We have to go door to door. There's no other way to get mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. We have to go door to door. We have to plan. Okay, so both book distributors on the group or in the class can also start thinking about this. We have to plan for this. We have to go door to door. Tapo divyam putraka. Such austerity is necessary. Yena sattvam shuddhyet. By such austerity in devotional service, one is purified of material existence. Indeed, such austerity leads one to the constitutional position of devotional service. See, Prabhupada is saying we are thinking distributing books is devotional service. No. Distributing books will take us to devotional service. Meaning, this is the early stages, initial stages of devotion where we are doing Vaidhi Bhakti. But actually, when we do these austerities, it will take us to the stage of Raga Bhakti where we will realize our constitutional position, our Swarupa, our real position in the spiritual world. So, these activities are important. Unfortunately, some devotees think saying, no, 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 all this is extraneous. Let me just sit and do chanting. Yeah, provided your chanting is pure, your life is pure, if everything is pure, you're able to control your mind, you're able to attentively chant, okay. Some very few fortunate souls will be able to do that. Most of us require external engagement to get mercy. Mm. And the most powerful, most powerful way is book distribution. Ah, it's the biggest austerity. It kills our false ego like nobody's business. Um, I've been in situations when people said saying that Bere kelsa ilva in Kannada, which means that don't you have any other work? Why are you coming and bothering us? Yeah, and we might be some big. And then when I was doing these things, I was vice president in a company and I said, yes, my position is useless. Right? Who cares for your position? Distribute books, then, heart will become more cleaner. Mm. In this way, one can give up material desires. And as soon as one is freed from material desires, he is free from the repetition of birth and death, old age and disease. So it's a very simple process. Take up austerity in devotion. Take up some austerity. And devotees don't understand, why are we doing Mangalarti at 4:30? Mostly devout people, temples do at 5 o'clock. No, we are greedy for mercy. We want extra mercy. So we want to push ourselves to do things that we will normally not do. I remember for many years I've been, wanting to memorize all these um, songs, Aarti songs, and somehow or the other, I used to remember, then suddenly something I used to forget in the middle, like that. Now, that long standing desire now is fulfilled because every day we are singing. So we can't forget now. Mm. So like this, when we do some austerity, we will experience some spiritual outcome. Of course, this is not such a big outcome, but definitely an outcome. And then, like I was saying, there are other devotees who are experiencing much, 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 much higher stages of devotion. Mm. And I was I was thinking today, saying that I should ask, uh, saying that why Krishna have you put me in this position where there are devotees who are more advanced than me? Why should they externally be under my guidance? I can't say no to them because then they will feel bad, but at the same time, I'm not qualified to guide them. So it's a very difficult situation. Mm. Don't know. Krishna will has some plan and some reason why he does. But that is what such austerities, they can give us results. They can give us results. And some of the devotees were saying that then they were doing chanting etc. at home, they were not experiencing these things. And now when they're chanting in the association of devotees, they're experiencing things literally on a daily basis. Uh, so which means that a proper environment for devotion, proper association can make a lot of difference, provided we take advantage of that. And there are many devotees who don't want to take advantage of that. Unfortunately, we see that number of devotees who come for Mangalarti is very less. Everybody has their own reason, work, sleeping late, etc., etc. But somehow we should make time to at least some part of, especially such powerful association should be, one should take benefit. Mm. You might be wondering what is that powerful association. Uh, so we invite you to come to our center for Mangalarti. I'll tell you where to experience that power. Uh, which corner of the room that power is coming from. Mm. Somebody was telling me, saying that just by hearing some chanting, he was getting attracted towards the Nama. Just by hearing somebody's chanting, not his own chanting. By hearing somebody's chanting, a devotee told me, saying that he is now, it feels so, attraction to the Nama. So which means that it's not some chanting being done by some ordinary devotees. They might look ordinary externally. Today I'm in very, very humbled, so I'm not going to speak anything about anything else. I was thinking, should I even cancel the class? But then I said, no, it's not fair. We're reading Prabhupada's purports, but I should have at least something to say, but I don't have anything to say. I'm just on the receiving end. And it may not be, I'm not obviously telling 100% of what I'm experiencing, but it's really humbling. It's really humbling. And, um, I'm just fortunate, and I pray that I can remain in the association of such devotees who are far, far more advanced than me. And it's just Krishna's and Guru's mercy in one sense, that I'm getting their association. It's not the other way around. So, okay, I'll stop here. Like I said, I am short of words today. So I'll stop here. If anybody has any comments, you can please make. Yeah, anybody wants to say anything, you can say. Okay, then we'll close. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Antakoti Vaishnavindi ki jai, Samveta Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Pranam. Pranam.
Hare Krishna.